we fight or we advocate access and the opportunities so that we have equality between the user groups, and that these fish can come in to the river, make it to their spawning grounds so that we have fish for everyone in future years.
Welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your host, Master Captain Angie Scott.
Welcome, everyone, to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast. I have a special guest with me, coming to you way up in Alaska. Always fun when I get to chat with somebody up that way. So welcome to the podcast, Shannon Martin.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're excited to have you on the show. Can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and your role as the executive director of the Kenai River Sport Fishing Association?
Yeah, so I'm based out of Soldotna, Alaska. The Kenai River flows right along through a couple of cities down here on the Kenai Peninsula. We're about a 3-hour drive from Anchorage, Alaska, which is, our largest city. So my role is to support the mission to ensure sustainability of our fisheries resources in this river. So that's kind of a broad statement, but basically the organization works to support habitat. We work to educate the public. We also support or leverage funding for research. And then we also are involved with fisheries management. So we advocate on behalf of, having angler access and opportunity.
Gotcha. Well, what sparked your interest in sport fishing and conservation? Was there like a particular moment or experience that led you down this path?
Well, I'm a lifelong Alaskan. I've been fishing this river my whole life. And for many of us up here, we want to give back. We want to take care of this resource so that it's around for future generations. And just being a mom, I want to make sure that when I take my kids fishing, they can take their kids fishing, and we all give back and we take care of it.
Yeah, so let's get a little more background for listeners who aren't familiar with the Kenai River. I've heard it's known as the crown jewel of Alaska's recreational fisheries. So what makes the river so unique and important, and how does the organization help to ensure its sustainability?
So the Kenai is the most accessible sport fishery in Alaska. It's along the road system. It has over 15 public access points. Some of those access points have boat launches. Some have picnic areas, day use sites, and others have campground loops as well. And it looks like a postcard, I will be honest. When you think of Alaska and you think of, bears, mountains that are, snow-capped, and a fly fisherman just casting a line in and catching a trophy-sized trout, that is the Kenai River. And on top of that, it is a gorgeous turquoise color because it's glacially fed water and it's silty. So it's just got this gorgeous color to it. It's very unique. Another thing that makes this river special, not only is it accessible, but it has the largest sport fishery for red salmon or sockeye salmon for Alaskans and for non-residents tourists that are coming up. So it's easy to get to, it's beautiful, it's pristine, and it's chock full of salmon.
Nice. Sounds like a dream. Very cool. Well, what are some of the biggest challenges KRSA faces in its conservation efforts, and how have you been addressing those?
Yeah, so the Kenai River is also home to the world record king salmon.
Mm.
It was caught back in the late 80s, and it was a 97-pound king salmon.
Wow.
So some of the challenges that our association has faced is we're seeing declines of kings, not only in the Kenai, but in the Upper Cook Inlet region, in the Gulf of Alaska. And our conservation measures have been focused on how can we ensure that kings make it into the river and that we have kings for the future.
Mm. And so I imagine you have to work with other like local, state, and maybe even federal
Mm-hmm.
partners to advocate for this sustainability. Have there been any recent successes or progress in any of the ongoing campaigns?
I think it's just a challenge in general.
Mm.
Right now because Alaska is we have such a large commercial fishing industry. The different user groups can compete with allocation of our fisheries.
Mm.
Um, most of the commercial fishing takes place either in federal waters and then in state waters. And then sport fisheries, they could take place in marine waters, but then also in our in-river fisheries. And so our association, of course, we're heavily involved with attending on the state level. They're called Board of Fish meetings, where we fight or we advocate access and the opportunity, so that we have equality between the user groups, and that these fish can come in to the river, make it to their spawning grounds, so that we have fish for everyone in future years.
Mm. Very cool. So I think I read that you guys involve over 200 volunteers and numerous members
Mm-hmm.
in your programs. How do you engage and motivate the community to participate in these efforts?
Well, one of our programs that we host annually is the Kids Kenai River Spring Cleanup. And so this is a time, typical in the spring in Alaska is actually May, is when the snow melts and the Kenai is at its one of its lowest levels. So we'll coordinate with the local school district and provide transportation, uh, trash bags, rubber gloves, cleaning supplies, and we'll go to these various public access points because the Kenai is so accessible and there are so many public access points. It can get hit pretty hard, in the month of July, for example.
Mm.
Lots of angler days are spent here. So when we get together for the kids' spring cleanup, we're bringing these kids out in May. Water level is low. We'll be able to access any litter or debris that's floated down the river and then found its way along among the brush or the rocks. Also fishing line, weights, lures, all of those are exposed during the low water level time.
Mm.
And that is quite the feat, herding 300 children around near a river.
I bet.
So yeah.
Well, that's cool though.
um,
I love
yeah,
that that's a priority.
it's easy to get the kids involved because this is their backyard. This is their playground, so to speak. Um, this is their outdoor area. The river just flows right through the heart of our city.
Mm. So it sounds like educating the next generation of anglers and conservationists is also a key focus for you guys. Can you tell us a little bit more about any other youth education programs?
Yeah, so we have another annual event. It's called the Kids Junior Classic. And this is an opportunity to get kids out on the water and introduce them to sport fishing. And for many of them, this is their first time fishing. And that's just really special to me because witnessing 100 kids, we have about 25 professional fishing guides that we contract with. They pick up the kids and a chaperone. They take them out on a day on the water fishing for coho salmon, silver salmon on the Kenai. This year is going to be a pink year. So there'll be more fish that hopefully will be biting and getting netted. And then they come ashore and they are so excited. They are hugging salmon. They are telling anybody who's listening that I caught a fish and it was so much fun. And, studies prove that if you introduce a kid to fishing, they are more likely to fish as an adult.
Right. Yeah. Very cool.
Also, during that day of the Junior Classic, we have other agencies and other organizations come to the boat launch, and we set up like an educational fair for them. So they'll learn how to tie some knots. We've had the local river rescue with their boat on site, so they can board the boat and check that out. Have a presentation from the firefighters. We have Alaska Water Boating and Safety doing a life jacket demonstration. And it's just an all around that's one of my favorite events.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like it could definitely have a huge impact on a youngster, getting to experience that. So that's awesome. I love that. Want to learn about fishing, hunting, and outdoor gear from fellow experienced outdoor women, as well as get inspired to try something new in the outdoors? Then subscribe to Adventurous, the only women's hunting and fishing magazine. Adventurous is a high-quality print magazine that receives rave reviews, and it also makes a great gift for other outdoor women and youth. Subscribe at Adventurous Magazine and use code WOMANANGLER for 15% off. So as a female in a role like an executive director in the sport fishing conservation industry, what kind of efforts do you have? Do you have any efforts just kind of centered around supporting women or getting women involved as well?
Yeah, so I've been trying to I wouldn't say I'm an expert by any means, but I've been trying to put myself out there and learn how to run a motor on the back of a boat. I started out rowing a drift boat, and then I was always in the role as a spouse of go get the truck and trailer. Can you back that up? And then my husband would be the one who would operate the boat and put it on the trailer. And I just never had that opportunity to learn it. And so over the last few years, I've thrust myself into driving and launching and, doing everything myself and not having somebody tie a knot for me or put a lure on and then pass me the rod. I've made it a point to say, okay, I'm going to do it. Can you explain to me how to do that? And I find it very empowering. I feel like I have river independence now, where I'm now hosting my friends who are in a similar situation where they might be lifelong Alaskans too. They might have grown up a couple miles from the river, but they've never tied a knot. They've never filleted a salmon. And so I really enjoy what I'm doing now with, local friends, family that come to visit. And I've also recently started working with Women's Fly Fishing Association. And I had the opportunity to be a trip host down to Yakutat on the Seatuck River for steelhead. That's one of my favorite fish to fish for.
Nice. Well,
I think once you catch the steelhead bug, it's kind of in you.
I have not caught a steelhead before, so guess I'll have to put it on my list for sure.
For sure. It's like a cross between a gigantic rainbow trout and a salmon.
Nice. Wow. Very cool. Well, I applaud you for stepping out and, forcing yourself to kind of get out of your comfort zone and become more independent on the water, and then now passing it along to your acquaintances and friends. That's so important. Who knows? You might even take it further than that, but that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really a good thing to see more women in the fishing industry. So I also teach at the Kenai River Guide Academy. It's a required course or certification for incoming guides, and it's nice to see the room filled with women. And we're seeing more women active as guides, as advocates for fisheries. The movement is growing from what I've witnessed over the last few years.
Well, it definitely is. And I know with, and when this comes out, this will already be after ICAST, but as we're having this conversation, you're getting ready to head down there. So you're definitely going to see a big group of women in the fishing industry. So I'm sure that will be super inspiring and encouraging for you as well.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to attending.
Awesome. Well, I know that sponsors play a crucial role in all of your efforts. Can you highlight any key sponsors and maybe some of the contributions to the organization?
Yeah, so we could not do the work that we do without the support of sponsors. One of our largest and longstanding supporters has been Yamaha, and they also have a philanthropy, a conservation wing called Right Waters. Mm-hmm. They have been crucial to the success of many of our programs over the years.
Very cool. And what advice would you give to young women who are passionate about conservation and looking to make a difference in the field?
I think joining a local sport fishing association, even the Kenai River Sport Fishing Association, if you want to head over, our membership is free and lifelong. You sign up at krsa.com. Being a part of a nonprofit that gives back to the resource, there's just a variety of programs that we do. And I would say if you want to get involved with a local nonprofit and volunteer your time. It'll make a difference.
Thank you for joining us, Shannon. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. And you already mentioned where listeners can go find out more at krsa.com. So I'll put a link to that in the show notes and people can go check that out and get involved.
Great. Fantastic. Thanks so much for having me today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.